Will gold and silver survive the Great Reset to CBDCs? And just a reminder, the information provided in this video is for education and entertainment purposes only. Nothing on this channel constitutes as financial advice. The information in this presentation is no substitute for financial advice, and all investors should seek advice from a licensed financial advisor having regard to your own objectives, financial situation, and needs. So the other day I woke up and I was tagged in this tweet from Belly of the Beast, which you can see here. I was tagged in this amongst a whole bunch of other people, and it was a video called Old Dollar to Wither on the Vine post CBDC launch by none other than Francis Hunt, the market sniper. And I only had to watch the first 30 seconds to realize that this looks like a good video that I need to watch. So big thanks to Belly of the Beast. If you're watching this video, appreciate you tagging me in on this. So let's have a look at that first 30 seconds of this video.
Best people, an interesting conversation that could be one of the most important, critical, almost seminal ones you could listen to. It's a bit of an area that know that there's a big decision to make on, but don't fully know how best to play it. And I'm going to share with you my views on it. This is Manico. I think he's a stand-up guy, and we've had him on for a chat before. And he's got an interesting guest here that you're welcome to listen to this entire clip. I'll share it in leaders. But this to me is the important part because this is part of reset planning. This is part of what happens to debt in the old currency once the CBDC comes. And this is an area where I still have lots of scenarios and forks that could potentially occur. And there's lots of pitfalls about being too self-assured about one particular direction. For example, so this is all about the CBDC and what happens to the old dollar-denominated debt once the digital dollar comes in, how they will potentially leave the original legacy market to wither on the vine, and the relative crossover markets rate will be slowly decay, and what they gain or lose in all of that. And this deals in essence with our over-indebted state, the fact that they clearly are going to bring the solution, and how should you be positioned for this. So I often get people that say, you should be borrowed up to the hilt actually now on account of debt's going to have some degree of write-off. And this guy has some element of that. I just feel that there's a couple of assumptions in here that I don't agree with, but the concept and the discussion is very good. And there's quite a bit I do agree with too. So it's interesting to highlight philosophically where we could see the scenario casting exercise, which is not of a chart or direction, but of a agenda, which manner inside which they are most likely to pursue. So this is a thought game theory process video. I'm not going to show you a chart. You don't have to prepare for that, but put your head on and think like a cartel that is bringing a Bolshevik communism to the globe and actually seeks to impoverish, in my worldview, everyone that is not an insider.
All right, we'll just stop it there. What we'll do, by the way, I'm not going to play any more of this video because I want you guys to jump on. It goes for an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and 16 minutes. I'll put a link in the description below. I want you guys to jump onto Francis Hunt's own YouTube channel, The Market Sniper, and subscribe while you're at it and watch this whole video. Definitely something that I've been thinking about myself. However, straight after I watched this, up popped another video with Mr. Market Sniper. And, well, put it this way. Let me warn you, when you watch this video, there's a lot of F-bombs and a lot of language. As we know, Francis Hunt, he's like that, which I love. However, this next one is probably a little bit more PC friendly. So let's check it out.
So for people that rely on the FDIC, my message to you is that's part of the great lie. This is mood music to give you comfort and to keep you trusting in the fiat game until they're ready to pull the entire tent down on everybody. So this is not about if, it's about timing, in my personal opinion. So anything that tells you about guarantees was invariably in lieu of one particular, maybe mid-sized bank falling over and everybody else contributions putting into a fund and government stumping up and making everyone whole. The entire system failing, there is no FDIC for an entire system failure where every single bank. What there will be is a whole new deal. And it wouldn't surprise me if they reel out legacy things. We've seen the Build Back Better. We've seen a brand new deal. You think Roosevelt, I think it was, if I've got my American history right, you'll see similar phraseology and solidarity, and we're all going in it. But on the question on some of the detail, one of the things and one of the theories that are being put forward that I've investigating and I'm sort of playing through as a scenario, is we're trying to forward understand the journey path that this goes, is essentially we are looking to go through the eye of a needle. One system needs the debt to be, you're thinking of, say, an ant loaded with this huge bag of fertilizer that it pulls along. Let's say it's a dung beetle. In other words, it's carrying something that's rather stinky and of low value. It's going to cross over a boundary as part of this reset. So there's going to be a key defining line where only the beetle comes through, and everything that was toxic and hamstringing actually gets lost and left behind for a rebirthing of a new system. And that, of course, has to be debt. And debt at the moment, as in our opinion, has started a turn in losing value and a run in rates. Even though we've seen the dollar soften and rates coming off now, our overall opinion is that debt is going to be tapered to zero. So you're going to have the old dollar system, and then of a weekend you will have, with a problem, a reaction, and some form of new solution. So there'll be quite a bit of time in that process of problem and reaction. But in that solution, you'll be offered a central bank digital currency, which will actually be new, immediately utilizable. And the people that are at a moderate to low income will essentially have up to a certain amount. Let me throw out a nominal amount just to make it a narrative. So I'm forward guessing here, $10,000. So if you have $10,000 or less of old world dollar money as we birth into this new system, you'll get $10,000 of CBDCs, which will have all the surveillance and other attributes addended, you can rest assured, plus a carbon credit and a number of other things. But with the legacy debt, anybody who wants to take more through that will have to go through Boom. So you actually got this 14-lane superhighway with all the old dollars, and you're going to have young kids on bicycles and skateboards going through this highway toll road and Booms. And because they'll have low amounts of money, they'll get through fairly easy. They'll just be flipped to CBDCs. If you PAYE, pay as you earn, you might be asked questions on tax and various other things, aspects to prove anything beyond 10,000 has had all its dues paid upon it, etc., etc. So what you end up with, a wealthy person, instead of being just a small motorcycle that can get through easily through this constriction now just to a 2-lane toll booth with booths and what do you call it, things that you have to stop at. The big trucks are going to get stuck. Anyone with wealth that has lots of assets that want to come through in the old dollar systems are going to say, well, you have to wait for that. You have to take longer. You have to go through various IRS processes to prove that, various things that you're a good citizen, you've done this. So one of the key elements is I see the middle and the wealthy being the most flattened in this process. And you would represent, if you're in that, if you had $1 million or in a bank or a couple of banks, you would actually have to go through far more paperwork, much longer period. What ends up happening is that the people that make it through to the other side, eventually they take a certain amount of time, but that old legacy dollar system starts to lose value. And there'll be a sort of back door where you can go into CBDCs, but they'll only offer you a certain percent of what you had in these bigger amounts to get through. Otherwise, you stand in the queue, you wait for government to review your process, they have a real long line, and your big wealth is not making it through this naturally well, this artificially created constriction, which is almost like going head first through the birthing canal of your mother. You've got to, it truly is going to be a difficult thing, this birthing process. And you're going to be holding your breath to get out the other side. And as that plays out, what will happen is more and more people will take the deal, and very quickly the CBDC value, the old dollar versus the CBDC, will be tapered to a zero. But they won't do it immediately, and this might even be only in a black market sense that can actually happen. Other amounts are beyond that limit. Without all sorts of awkward questions. So we end up with a system where we create a new market where the old dollar can no longer be used easily. To get it turned into new dollars, you'll have a parallel period running of these two systems, but where one will be made out to be the Cinderella relative to the bright new shiny toy, and it'll quickly taper in value. So debt and bond owners will not be able to sell and get new CBDCs with these things. And if that which they will convert will be at an ever tapering lower rate. And that's how they will kind of let the dung beetle through the hole in the wall, minus his burden, let's put it like that. If you'll enjoy the analogy, we're trying to keep some humor in all of this, but pensions, of course, go bust as a result of that, which then sees elderly being put onto the equivalent of, say, a UBI, subject to complying with certain health needs, which could see them face some levels of the kind of medical treatments we've had recently, which might not always be good for their health. But that I might be wrong entirely on that. So a little bit of spitballing. And the example of that, some people think it will be great to have debt, because essentially, if you're hyper leveraged in the old dollar, that debt dies, but the asset you own goes through with you. So shared certificates will still be valid after this birthing event. Bond holders will still be valid, but they will be in dollars, and they will have been essentially collapsed in value in the old dollar system. So you're actually going to have this parallel, it's difficult to visualize, but a parallel system of a dormant, failing, less active, less liquid, decaying past, and a simultaneous bright, shiny new toy. And many people have not experienced this, but if you go to speak to an Argentinian, they've had their bank balances above 1,500 corralled and taken as government debt, and then had it paid back and given a government instrument that in 3 years was largely worthless. That's one example. In South Africa, we used to have the commercial rand and the financial rand, and that was a way that the local people got hammered, but it was kept attractive for foreign direct investment. This was during the apartheid era. So this notion of a two-tiered pricing, which could parallel run, where one gets properly hammered, and you could taper the thing you don't want, which invariably is debt and will be the bond markets, to being very low value till eventually zero.
So back in January of 2021, I did this video, The Great Reset, How to Survive, and in it, I outlined exactly what their plan is for society, and especially for what it's going to be like living in the cities with this great reset. And then at the end of the video, I just shared how to survive, or what I'm doing and planning on doing. So what I want to do is just cut to a clip on exactly that bit, what I'm doing in preparation for this great reset. Here's my 5 tips for surviving the great reset. My first tip is to get some physical gold and silver. Now, gold and silver has been a store of wealth for thousands of years. It's been used as money, or it is money. The dollars in our bank account, the dollars in our wallets, in our back pockets, it's not money, it's currency, and there's a difference. But getting physical gold and silver, because if things do get bad, from a worst case scenario, it may come to the point where we may have to buy things using gold and silver. So yeah, as well as being a store of wealth, I am a big investor in gold and silver, both physical as well as gold and silver miners and explorers, as many of you know. So get some gold and silver. You can get that at your local precious metals dealer, reputable precious metals dealer. For those in Australia, you can buy physical metal from the Perth Mint. Now, you can have it stored in vaults, you can have some on your possession somewhere or whatever. That's entirely up to you. You want to have it fairly close by if you need it, if things do get potentially bad. The second one, start a business. So it could be an online business. With a lot of work from home now, I think a lot more people are using technology. So I think an online business would be a smart way to go. Basically, you need a secondary income. If you're PAYG or whatever your job is, things we'll be forced to make choices, and that may mean losing our employment if we do not obey our masters. And so having a second let me just pause it there. So I actually find this interesting because I did this video on the 29th of January 2021 before any of the so-called mandates came out. In fact, when I was very early on talking about government and the central planners and authorities are going to mandate this, and if you don't take the medicine, you're going to lose your job. Mate, wasn't I called a tinfoil hat nutter conspiracy theorist? I lost friends on Facebook, and not just on Facebook, but I've lost friends in general that just thought I was crazy. And well, what have we seen happen all around the world, not just in Australia? What I will say also is, since I did this video and I said start an online business, well, we probably won't have access to the internet unless we agree to our digital ID and our social credit score and all that sort of stuff. So we may not even have access to being online. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a tinfoil hat crazy nutter conspiracy theorist. Secondary or even multiple sources of income. A lot of very successful people I know have multiple sources of income, but there's lots of opportunities to have other sources of income. Starting online businesses, doing blogs, YouTube channels, writing. You can sell products online, set up an Amazon store, or the Facebook version. What's that one? It's escaped me right now. You can create a trading account. So my business, which and I'll probably share a little bit in a second, but I have an online trading business. So having multiple sources of income is something that you may want to start thinking about and preparing. I know some people drive Uber and do some other things outside of their 9-to-5 job or their employment, but you want something where you can be very flexible, and you'll see that with number 5. Invest in hard assets like commodities, which society needs. So if we're moving to this whole green revolution, this greenwash, and once again, I recommend going to Capital Exploits website, Chris McIntosh at Capital Exploits, and check out his blogs. He's written a lot about commodities and the whole greenwash, the green revolution. He doesn't call it renewables, he calls it rebuildables. And I'm not going to go into that right now. However, that's where society is heading. Now, what are solar panels? What are electric vehicles made out of? What wind turbines? There's a lot of minerals and a lot of commodities that need to be mined to make these things. Now, they have a shelf life. They don't last forever. And so there's going to be a lot more commodity usage as we electrify the economy. So invest in hard assets. So obviously physical gold and silver, but other things like copper, cobalt, nickel, zinc, uranium, oil's still going to play a part. gas, oil. We can't make just about any product in our household without oil. Anyway, I'm going to get off onto another tangent here, but society needs commodities, and commodities have never been cheaper. If you've looked at other videos of mine, you'll know that. Invest in water and soft commodities. So soft commodities is food. For me, where I'm looking at investing in this is really, it's step 4 and step 5 is mixed together, which is quality farmland. And perhaps consider moving out of the cities. If you're able to work from home now, if you're able to start an online business, if you don't have to be in the city, with what's coming, you've seen their utopia, what they want. If you want to live in that society, by all means, stay in the city. I don't. So those of you who follow this channel and watch most of my videos will know that in recent times I've done a couple of videos where I've talked about where we are headed as a society and what to do. And pretty much nothing has changed since I did that video in January 2021. Getting out of the cities, loading up on food supplies, learn how to grow your own food, your own water supply, shelter, security, community of like-minded people. So being around people who have similar values, morals and beliefs as you do. Because during tough times, you're going to need the support of one another and real assets. So really nothing has changed. In fact, there's probably even a few more details in here, such as energy, etc., that isn't in this list that I would add in. So nothing's changed. Still doing these things. I would highly encourage people to at least consider these things, because we're clearly on a path where society is moving, and I don't think anything's going to change it. And finally, probably my most important video that I've done on this channel, I'd say the Great Reset, How to Survive is right up there, very important. But I think my most important video that I've done on this channel since I started in September of 2020 is this video, The New World Order is Coming. And once again, I'll put a link in the description of both of these videos in the description below. But I absolutely stand by 100% everything in this video, and got a lot of support, but also got a lot of hate for this video, and I absolutely stand by it. And when I actually did this video, I thought, you know what, I'm going to risk alienating a lot of you, and maybe I see my subscribers just jump ship and see them halving in numbers. And I went, well, I don't care. I have to do this. I have to put this video out. And I did. Basically, this video is talking about economic signs in Bible prophecy and economic signs today, and just putting it out there, and then letting you guys decide whether that's accurate or not, whether it's happening or not, and for you to make up your own mind. I'm pretty convinced on what's going on and where things are headed, and so I'm trying to prepare accordingly as best as I can. And gold and silver, analog wealth in a digital age just makes so much sense to me. And I know a lot of people just don't think that's the way to go. But you know what? We all have to make our own investment decisions and prepare accordingly. And for me, I want analog wealth in this digital society that's coming. Anyway, what do you guys think? Love to see your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Really do appreciate it. Take care, everyone. I'll see you all again on another episode of Finance Uncut.